Hiring is probably the most critical decision your company makes. But what about the person who finds your people? All too often, that choice is just an afterthought. So in this explainer, we're going to break down how to pick the right recruitment partner, and maybe more importantly, how to avoid the really costly mistakes that most companies make. So let's just start with a big one. When you're picking a recruiter, are you actually asking the questions that matter? Or, like so many others, are you starting the entire conversation from totally the wrong place? For most companies, the conversation starts and ends with just one thing, the fee. But let me tell you, focusing on that initial price tag is a huge, huge mistake. The real cost isn't what you pay the recruiter. It's the massive long-term damage of a bad hire. This really forces you to see the choice not as a price comparison, but as two completely different paths. On one side, you've got the low price gamble. Yeah, you save a few bucks up front, but you're inviting in a ton of risk. On the other side is the strategic partner, who's all about long-term value and, crucially, about preventing those risks from ever happening in the first place. Okay, so how do you tell these two apart? Well, it all starts by looking at the very DNA of the recruiter. I mean, what are they actually made of? This is where the differences become crystal clear. First thing to look at, is the agency a specialist or a generalist? A strategic partner is always a specialist. You're not just hiring someone to find resumes. You are tapping into deep industry knowledge, hands-on experience, and a network that took years, maybe even decades to build. A generalist just can't compete with that. And that expertise, it goes right down to the consultant themselves. Does the person you're actually talking to have hands-on experience in your field? Or did they come from, say, a general sales background? One of them truly understands what the role demands. The other is just really good at selling you, well, any candidate. So we know who they are. We've looked at their background, but what do they actually do? This brings us to the process showdown. And believe me, this is where the quality differences really, really shine. It's so easy to just assume all recruiters follow the same basic steps, right? But that could not be further from the truth. The difference in their processes can be absolutely staggering, and assuming they're all the same is exactly where companies get into serious trouble. This means you've got to ask the tough questions. You have to ask, do you actually interview your candidates or just screen their resumes? Do they even know their resumes being sent to us? Are you asking real technical questions? And here's the big one. How do you truly know they can do this job? These are the questions that expose all the shortcuts. And here's what that looks like in the real world. The low-price gambler, they might have a 5-minute phone call. That's not an interview, it's a keyword search. A strategic partner, on the other hand, conducts a proper 90-minute technical interview. The difference in outcome is just, well, it's obvious. Which process do you want building your team? And that massive difference in process leads directly to what lands in your inbox. The low-price recruiter just dumps a long list of resumes for you to sort through. A strategic partner does the hard work for you, delivering a curated short list of maybe 1 or 2 amazing candidates with a detailed summary explaining exactly why they're the perfect fit. But hey, the work is not over once a candidate accepts the offer. Not even close. For a true partner, the placement is really just the beginning of the relationship. So what does that long-term partnership actually look like? Have you ever interviewed a candidate who seems totally clueless about the job or your company? Yeah, that's what happens when a recruiter has never even set foot on your site. A true partner takes the time to visit, to really understand the culture, to see the work environment. It's such a simple step, but it prevents massive confusion down the line. And that partnership continues long, long after day one. A strategic recruiter doesn't just vanish. They follow up consistently through that entire first year. And this isn't just a courtesy call. It's about protecting your investment. It's a chance to catch any small issues before they become big reasons for a great new hire to resign. Okay, so we've covered expertise, we've covered process, and we've covered partnership. But there is one final test you can use, a simple little litmus test that reveals everything you need to know about a recruiter you're thinking about working with. It's this simple. Talk to the candidates. Seriously, ask them about their experience with the recruiter. They'll give you the direct, unfiltered truth about the entire process, their professionalism, and how your company's brand is being represented out there in the market. There is no better source of truth. So all of this leads to a pretty fundamental shift in your thinking. Recruitment isn't just a transactional task to fill a vacancy. It is a strategic process of mitigating risk, of removing every single possible assumption so that you get the right person the first time. Ultimately, it all boils down to this really powerful idea. Know your recruiter as well as they should know your company and the candidates they present. That right there, that's the standard. If they don't meet it, they're not the right partner for you. So, the final question is for you to think about. In your own hiring process, are unchecked assumptions about your recruiters costing you time, money, and top talent? Because choosing a true partner instead of a low-price gamble, well, that can make all the difference in the world.